This is a workplace, a technical workplace, home to hundreds of different species, and new ones are discovered every week. It is also home to many different spiders, and this particular species, with its perfect camouflage skin, truly blends in with its natural surroundings. Ah, coffee, most kind, thank you, Jess. Ah, hot. Thank you. The Spider RFID Reader really is a natural wonder. Its web does not limit it to coffee machines only. It loves to forage on multifunctional printers and even electric charging stations. Unlike any of its related species, it is designed to identify humans and give them access to designated spaces. Once hatched, it can settle on any device in its surroundings. It can even be updated remotely, which saves a lot on CO2 emissions for maintenance and transportation. Rather eco-friendly, isn't it? The Spider comes in many shapes and sizes. Its basic form is the core, and it is perfectly capable of living inside any device. One could indeed say that, in this case, size does matter. The pocket is a few centimeters larger than its little brother and can often be found on lockers or on printers. And this one here, nested on the side of this device, is called the MFP, named after its host, a multifunctional printer. Its big brother, the largest of them all, has adapted for counter or desktop usage.
We're close.
Oh, really? Nevertheless, these little wonders are extremely useful to us humans. They help us register our activities and guarantee our security. Remarkable little creatures. Companies such as these that are mindful about their eco-footprint are the hope of the future generations. It is their impact that can make a change on this great and spectacular marvel called the living world.
Welcome to this spectacular moment. Welcome to the official launch of our new RFID reader. Welcome to the launch of the Spider. We are very honored and are very thankful that you all have came today to see our newest pad, our newest product, our new solution, the Spider. I hope you're still there and not blown away by the amazing video you just have seen, and you have seen the first introduction, and I will guide you together with Marcus and Jelle today through the whole product. Before we start, a few things. We all have been tested, and this is a corona safe environment. So we try to keep distance, but still, if we come to a little bit too close, everybody was tested negatively. Second thing is you are always able to ask us anything in the questions field in Teams. All questions will be anonymously, so no one else can see your question. And at the end of this session, we will answer your questions, or if there's too many questions, we will answer them later. They will not be published with your name in this chat field. So please feel free to ask anything you want to see. So what are we going to do today? Of course, present you the Spider, but before we do so, I want to take you into this process of developing the Spider. So actually, we started 2 years ago, and most of you had an impact on it as well, because the most of you watching today have been involved in this development process without knowing, because we used your feedback, your questions to our support, and also your strategy to develop our new Spider. Before we present the full Spider to you, I want to share with you our guiding principles. So why did we develop the Spider, and what was the basis of doing so? We defined 5 important things. First thing, security. So we know that most companies are investing a lot in their security nowadays. And as you know, security is as strong as the weakest link in the chain. So we don't want to be that weakest link. We want you to be the strongest part of the security chain. And if we know that most companies are investing a lot in security nowadays, and that fines, so penalties, are rising and getting more expensive, especially in Europe with the European data protection rules, we wanted to come up with a very secure device which will support you for the coming years. Second part was manageability. Actually, this part came to our heads because of a conversation that we had with one of our clients. He told us that they are using students to set up their devices at customers. So they had a rollout with 1,500 machines at different locations, and they used students to install the machine. And that's when we thought, okay, we need to come up with a card reader, with an RFID reader that is easy, manageable for people that have no technical knowledge. We know that you have less skilled workers. It needs to be cheap, easy to manage, and to support the device. Eco-friendliness, you saw it already in the movie. inepro is very, very aware of the eco footprint that we leave. So this building that I'm standing in now, our headquarters in the Netherlands, is a completely CO2 natural building. So we heat up the building with groundwater in winter, and we cool it down in summer with the same groundwater. That's also something that we wanted to have for our new products. We want to try to work with as less as plastics as possible and have a high impact on the world around us. Fourth important part was the size and cable. We know that most of you build in the card reader. So what size do we need to have? And how are we going to work with different cables? Most of you will know that with the SCR, it was possible to unplug the cable. Very handy in some cases, but if you want to mount it outside of the machine, it could be a little bit dangerous because people can just plug out the cable and connect anything else to it. So we wanted to come up with another solution. And last but not least, the one reader policy or principle and new technologies. inepro stands for a product that reads all technologies, and not just the UID, but all technical features as well. We want to have one single product and not 4 or 5 different products in your warehouse. And why is this principle so important to us? It's because we were at your site. We had projects as well. We had 10 different card readers on stock, and we had these issues. So we want to keep up with just one card reader that supports all technologies known to us on the market. And having said that, smartphone authentication is of course a very important and new technology coming to the market. So those 5 guiding principles were the basis of our development start 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, we started to develop the whole Spider new. Why is it called the Spider? We saw it as an animal. It is our card reader is a device that fits in perfectly into another device. You don't see it, but it feels everything. It has an electrical charged web, and it feels every vibration, every movement, everything that happens in its surroundings. It can notify it, and it will notify it, and it will make sure that it's secure in this region, just like a spider web. That's why we call our new RFID reader the Spider. So what can it? What is the new functionality that we offer? Let's start with the one reader principle. What are new functionalities? First of all, Bluetooth low energy, so mobile identification is now possible with this card reader. So it's not only supporting NFC, but also Bluetooth, which we will demonstrate later. Smartphone authentication is something that we see in a lot of projects nowadays. People want to be able to use their smartphone, their smart device, to log into an MFP, a locker, a cash register, and that's why we have decided to come up with a Bluetooth solution. Besides that, we really strengthened our capacity in the lower frequency area. So where we used to read the 125 kilohertz region, we are now able to read everything between 100 and 150 kilohertz. So for example, the codec range in 134 kilohertz. So this is a major improvement. Now you are able to read not only the basic industry standards, but also define your own frequency where you want to read a specific tag on. Small transponders have been increasing in the market as well. They are often found in keys, for example, or key fobs, and we have seen that the reading distance of the SCR could use a little bit of an upgrade. This has changed incredibly with the new Spider. With the new Spider, you will see a really big change in reading distance, especially when it comes to these new, smaller tags in keys, in key fobs. It is really amazing what the R&D team has improved over there. There is a SAM socket available, SAM slot available on the device. Future compatibility will also be secured by lifetime updates. This card reader is ready for the future, and what we don't have today, we will develop in the coming time. And one of those things is, for example, the HID sales technology. The Spider is capable of reading the sales cards, and we are developing that at this moment. So that will be one of the first big major updates that you will see soon. When it comes to security, we have decided that we completely redesign the RFID reader. So as you can see here, it now has two different layers. So where it was one PCB before, it now has two different layers, one with the 13.56 megahertz region and one with the lower frequency range. And that enables us to have more chips on board and have the highest security standards. With this card reader, we want to have a device that will fit for the future, that will not be old in 2 years or not in 5 years. This is a lifetime product. The hardware is ready for it. It has all new features on board, and it's just our software, which we can configure and update all the time. So what is new on the security side? For example, our trusted platform module. That saves us or enables us to save onboard security keys and certificates. It makes it really safe to work with this reader and all technologies that you want to or your client wants to work with. Because in the end, that is what it all goes about. Your client is investing in new technology and you want to be able to support it. Today it might be Logic, in 2 years it might be HID. You don't want to switch the readers, you just want to update them. And that is exactly what the Spider is about. This is a future-ready product and we will support it also in the future. About updating, maybe that's interesting. Manageability is something that we have been thinking about. How can we do this? How can we make it safe and secure and easy to update the reader all times? How wouldn't it be easy if we just had a smartphone application to connect to the reader and send it a new configuration or new firmware? Sounds impossible? Not as of today, because today we are really proud to launch our new configuration app. So how does this work? Well, just take a look at it for yourself. You see here a Spider, and it reads a decimal number of the card. So turn the Spider around, scan the QR code with the configuration app, now available in app stores. So scan the QR code, and you will see that on your app you see the details of the card reader. Select Browse Config File, it goes into your documents. Select the config file you want to push to the reader. Just say Send Config File. The config file is via Bluetooth being sent to the reader. And after this reader will read a hexadecimal output. This is something that I personally am very proud of, because this was something that we developed together with our clients. This is really based on what you asked us to develop. This is making it really easy to install any kind of card reader and just update it on the fly. Smartphone updating, is that everything that you have to offer? No, it's not everything that we have to offer, because also our fleet management tool has gotten an update. With this tool, it is possible to update and monitor all card readers through your host device in your network, which means that If you need to update them, you can update them at all time and all at the same time. So you can update them in a batch. You can send them a new firmware. You can see which card readers are reporting an issue, give them an update, and manage them from the network through your host device. This really makes it easy to manage your card readers. The card reader is a supporting device. The RFID reader is a supporting device. It helps you to support your clients. No matter which technology they want to use to authenticate securely, you will be able to help them with it. And that is what we want to reach with this Spider. And now it also has become much more easy to manage the device. And that is already eco-friendly, because if you don't need to drive there anymore and just do it from your office, it saves you the transportation costs and the time. But that was not enough for us. We also wanted to stop working with plastics as much as possible. So what you will see at the right side is that our cables are not packed in plastic bags anymore. So it's just a plain cable with a small serial number on it, a ID number, so you can always easily have it in your stock and don't need the plastic bags anymore. Most important thing is, and that is maybe another thing that we are really proud of, is the size of the card reader. As you can see there, it is as big as a matchbox. Well, that could be a Photoshop. So here's the live proof. Here's at the left, of course, is the Spider core, and right is a matchbox. And as you can see, it has the same size, which also means that we are able to ship these Spider cores in bulk in 20 pieces with a very small box. This box was not photoshopped, but this box has the same size as previously the SCR 708, which saves a lot of transportation costs, CO2 emission, and also space in your warehouse. And because we are so secure about this product, we give you a 5-year warranty. We guarantee that this is a lifetime product, and we give you 5 years warranty to prove it. This product will not break down. Then sizing and cabling. So let's get back to our old situation with the cable that you could unplug. That was handy and not handy at the same time. So we thought about, okay, how are we going to solve it? Our solution is actually pretty simple. Why didn't we think of that before, you could say? Because now the Spider core is a separate product. So the Spider core is a basic product, and you can add additional parts to it. The Spider core, as you can still see here, has a 6-pin out connector, and that's where I connect the cable to. So if I want to mount the card reader inside of a device, it's just this part, a cable, plug it in, and it works. No problem at all. If I want to mount the card reader outside of a machine, I want to have a closed device, a device that I cannot plug the cable out of. So this is the Spider desktop, and that's also the drawing that you're seeing. So what do? Basically, you take the Spider core, plug a cable into it, click the housing together, and then the cable is fixed. The housing cannot be opened anymore, and the cable is fixed, ideally for installations outside of your own device. So which kind of product do we now have? Still, the most important part is that we have one card reader. So the basic is always the Spider core with its incredibly small size. The second part is the Spider Pocket, which is a bit bigger. It still has a Spider core as a basic, but it has this small pocket housing, pocket bracket over it, which makes it easy to click it into locker systems, for example, or the hip bracket. And last but not least, the biggest one in the range is the Spider Desktop or the Spider Desktop MFP. And this device has the same size as the SCR 708 previously had. So it has the same size, and it's built now to be mounted outside of a machine or at a cash register. So somewhere where it needs to be safe and not the cable can be unplugged. Talking of cables, or speaking of cables, we also invested in new cables. So now we have listened to you, and we did come up with new shorter cables, USB-A 15 and 17 centimeters, for example, also the 75 centimeters, and the same goes for the USB-B or the Type Mini B cable as well. Well, we have decided to come up with different cables and make it easy for you to just pick your cable, the one that you need for this specific project. So this was the basic part. These are the basic features of the Spider that we are launching today. What are we going to do in the future? Obviously, the Spider configuration app will come into the app stores. The iOS App Store, the Apple App Store, it is already available. Google at the Android App Store, the Play Store, it will be available by the end of the week latest. We expect to have it live tomorrow. So with this app, you are able to already update your card reader via your smartphone. Next step is an identification app for end users. We are working on that at this moment. And here's also the thing, it has to be secure, it has to be safe. So we want to spend a little bit more time on it and present it to you in Q3 this year. And from then on, your end users are able to identify at the Spider with their smartphones. And what is the next step? What is it after that? So what we are seeing is that we want to integrate our different tools into one cloud-based platform. In the future, our ideal world would be that you will manage your configurations, card readers through a host device from one platform so that you can build a configuration in your office and just push it to the smartphone of your technical skilled worker on site or the student on site. So that's really what we see. We see it from a cloud perspective. We see that this card reader has become the new cloud-based generation of RFID devices. Most important thing, however, is that your input defines our roadmap. So all questions that you will have today, please still put them in the chat. We will answer them. We'll also define our roadmap. Talking of that, to measure what you need, we now post a poll in the same chat functionality. So please go there, fill out the poll. It's just 5 questions, and we want to get a feeling of which technologies are you needing, which functionality are you needing, and we will share all results with all of you tomorrow. So it will be anonymously, but the more people fill it in, the better the information is, and also the better the information is that you will get. So we will use your input to define our roadmap, and on the other hand, we will also use your input to share it with others and share information of this community that we are having today. Is this everything that we have to present to you? No, it's not, because we also have a new order portal. Now it is possible to order directly from inepro, so from a secured vendor, the card reader. It will be behind the login, so you need to create an account so that we will be able to see, okay, who is going to order where. And with this new portal, we are really proud of it. Thank you for the marketing team as well. It will really make easy to just order a card reader, pay it directly, and we will ship it directly from our warehouses all over the world to you. Now it's time for you to ask us something. So we explained a lot. Now it's time for you to ask us the questions. Marcus and Jelle are sitting right here next to me. Marcus, please take it away.
Jelle, thank you very much for the great presentation and the introduction of the Spider Reader. It is a great achievement by everyone here in the company. It's the entire R&D team, it's the marketing team who really worked together to make this product available and ready for launch. And of course, we wanted to launch it in a normal way without having all of these kinds of restrictions with respect to the coronavirus. So we are very happy to do the official introduction via a virtual launch. And we are here in our own jungle together with Jelle, one of our lead developers of the RFID Reader, to answer your questions. So Jelle, I'm quite curious if we have some questions from our online audience.
Actually, a lot of questions, and I will start with the most difficult one. Jelle, this one is to you. What is, in your opinion, the thing that makes a Spider most unique? So what are you, from a technical perspective, the most proud of? What makes this device unique?
Wow, that's a simple question, maybe can be a complex answer. But if you ask me, I would say from a technical perspective that for me it's very unique. You can buy a hardware platform with our RFID reader that is fully upgradable afterwards. So that means you can update firmware of all parts of the card reader, and that is not limited to only some new functional features, but also security parts are fully upgradable afterwards. without breaking current security. Also, new card technologies can be added afterward by firmware update. And in this way, we really guarantee you that you have an actual product during the whole lifetime of the product and that's actually what you may expect from IT products nowadays.
So you think the uniqueness is the security? I fully agree with you, but I also believe that uniqueness still also, which we had already on the SCR 708 reader, is also the way we can handle multiple frequencies and multiple transponders simultaneously in the reader. So we could have the low frequency and a high frequency. And also the uniqueness now is that we have added this BLE and the Bluetooth app to identify a user. So this all works simultaneously at the same time.
And of course, that you can use BLE not only for authenticating users, but you can also use BLE for maintaining users, maintaining card readers.
Yeah, so besides the network tool, we have this configure app or the configurator app, which makes it also unique.
Exactly.
Cool.
Marcus, you were just mentioning working simultaneously. One of the questions that we got is it possible to use NFC and Bluetooth simultaneously? And how does this work in conjunction with the current NFC Me app of inepro?
So we have the NFC Me app already available for a couple of years in the Android store. We all know how good the Apple product is to work with NFC. We hope in the near future that Apple is opening up a little bit more for developers. So the NFC app, NFC Me app, is working in conjunction, of course, with the Spider reader, and it works very good in a simultaneous way between the NFC, but also in the BLE app, and also working with other frequencies.
Yeah, a question to you. Is there any way to authenticate the connection to the reader via the app, or in any way, or in other words, is it possible for an end user to connect to the Spider using this configuration app? How do we secure this?
Okay, so you mean if a user or a person is downloading the app from the App Store and maybe wanted or unwanted try to connect to the Spider card reader, isn't it?
Exactly.
Okay. I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So yes, what we have seen in the presentation from Jano was that he was scanning the QR code of the reader. Of course, this is in a live situation not the most practical way to use the BLE connection, but that is first security feature to prevent unwanted connections if the card reader is not yet initialized.
So you add an extra security layer on it.
Already out of the box, yes.
Correct.
But later on, by a new configuration, you can add a password to the card reader, and then you can protect the card reader with the password you have to enter in your app first. So, for example, if students download the app, they're normally not able to connect to your card readers in order to break them down, for example, or change behavior.
And is this always need to be done by the resellers themselves or the customers themselves, or can we as inepro provide a service that we already programmed this configuration in the reader?
Well, both is possible. Of course, our customers and dealers can do it themselves and don't know to tell them their passwords. But of course, we also offer an in-house programming service that we can supply the card readers with a pre-programmed configuration, and this configuration, of course, can be included with a BLE password.
Nice, really nice.
Marcus, question to you. Is there any Spanish documentation available regarding installation, support, etc.?
So with from the product marketing perspective, we are preparing all kinds of information, and we are working on having the documentation, and this is the commercial documentation, but also the manuals available in multiple languages, which is also Spanish.
Talking about documentation, another question is there a documentation available for all protocols that the Spider supports? So is there somewhere a list of technologies and protocols that the Spider is reading? And where can I find it?
Yes, there is a product guide available with all of these information. So it's the supporting ISO standards, it's supporting the technologies, it's about the communication protocols, and we have that on the SharePoint sites available.
I believe there is also a specification sheet, isn't it?
Correct, yeah. We also have spec sheets for the different shapes and forms of the Spider. So it's the core, it's the pocket, and it's the desktop. And we have specific spec sheets for that, correct, Jelle?
The other question to you, is there or will there be an SDK available to allow direct integration from our own software applications? And will the SDK allow us to configure the device from our own application? So meaning not using keyboard emulation or HID emulation, but another form. So is there an SDK available for that?
Well, we just launched the Spider card reader yet. That means we are still continuing developing all kinds of features and support for the Spider card reader. That means currently we don't have this SDK not available yet, but this is definitely something we are thinking about of. And please feel free to share us your ideas in which way we can bring out such an SDK to help you with making your solutions even more secure.
Another question to you, Jelle. How many card technologies or protocols can the Spider read simultaneously?
Well, simultaneously. Well, that's how you want to ask the question. Well, of course, it only reads one card at a time, but you can configure many configurations of many card technologies together in one configuration. So that means with one configuration, you can easily read out, I would say, many tens of.
So I haven't seen any limitations so far. So
no, there are technically a few card technologies that exclude themselves, but almost you can combine all card technologies together within one configuration to read them more or less all simultaneously.
Yeah. So on the list we have on the spec sheet, we'll say almost 80% of all the technologies and standards are read simultaneously.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah, so maybe this is a stupid question from my side, but if I just receive a Spider and it comes out, I take it out of the box, does it read then just 4 technologies or does it read anything? How does this work? When I just take it out of the box, what happens?
Good question, Jano. It's not a stupid question. The Spider has the same open mindset as we called it with the SCR 708. So there is a default or generic configuration programmed in already. So take the reader out of the box and plug it into a host device. It will read all technologies and ISO standards. So you don't need to touch or configure the reader to have a working solution. It works out of the box.
Perfect. And is it easy to limit it to just one technology? Do I need a tool? Where can I find this tool? How does this work?
So yes, it is quite easy to do that. We have tools available to have it on a laptop, and you can easily create your own configuration and store this configuration and update the reader. Now, you can use the configuration card of it. You can use your laptop to program the reader with, or as you demonstrated, you can use also the configurator app.
Yeah. It's maybe also good to mention that you can still reuse your configurations you are used to use for your SCR 708 card readers. You already have in use. So, for example, if you have a project with SCR 708 card readers and you want to extend this project with Spider RFID card readers, there's no problem at all. You don't need to bother about your configuration. You can just keep the existing configuration and load it also in the Spider card readers without a doubt.
So you can clone or copy back the configuration from the SCR 708 and program it into a Spider.
Correct. So that means the Spider is definitely fully backwards compatible in a functional way to the SCR 708.
Okay, that's quite handy in projects where you have now the 708 and want to add additional Spiders.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Talking of old-fashioned solution or older solutions, what is exactly the difference between the config card and Bluetooth, Marcus? Because, or maybe it's good to mention the config card. Does it still work on the Spider? How does this principle with a configuration card work?
Yes, Janno. So the principle with a configuration card is that you could create a configuration which needs to be programmed into a SCR 708 reader, which is also available for the Spider. And you could program a contactless card. And with this contactless card, you can tap on the reader to program the configuration. Using the configurator app, you are able to do the same thing. So you can add the configuration to the reader via the configurator app over BLE. But in addition, with this configurator app, you have the ability also to update the firmware of the Spider.
Talking of that, Marcus, another question came in, and we had this question before, but where exactly can I find all documentation, for example, on the integrations with other, in this case, MFP software vendors? So is there somewhere a list with which MFP brands the Spider is compatible with? How does this go with software? Is there compatibility metrics or something like that?
Yes, there is available. You know, as mentioned, we have the product guide, and in the product guide we have this compatibility matrix where you can find the information with which, and in this case, print management software or other type of solutions the reader is compatible with, and we can share that list with everyone on the request. So contact your account manager. Or send us an email and we will provide that information to you.
Actually, I believe that at the end of the presentation, there's also a direct link to our website where all relevant information can be found.
Yeah, and perhaps, you know, it's also nice that we can say, and that's also what you will mention later on, that the information can be found again on the website.
Another question, Marcus. I just already mentioned, but what is the exact name of the configuration app, and on the what name is it findable in the Play Store? I think for Google it's not yet findable, right? It will be tomorrow.
No, so Google at this moment it's in the review of Google, and in the App Store of iOS it is called Spider Configure app.
Excellent. Sorry, I was just watching the questions. A lot of questions are coming in. Please just keep on writing them to us. So if we don't have time today, then we will answer them later. But just keep on writing. Yeah, what I wanted to ask you from a personal level, Marcus. A lot of our clients, of course, work on a global level. How do we support them from a global perspective? Or is the card reader certified for every country? Do we have a support available in different languages and time zones? Yeah, could you answer that?
Yes, the Spider has been certified for multiple regions. At this moment, the Spider is certified for global regions such as Europe, UK, Canada, US, India, Japan, Australasia, or Australia and New Zealand. So from that perspective, the reader has the global certifications for the major regions available already. From a support perspective, we have multiple offices across the world. Amsterdam region, our headquarters, but we also have an office based in the US. We have an office based in China, which is also one of the certified countries, to support the Australasian part of the world.
A good question coming in from Germany. Marcus, again you. Sorry, Jelle. Marcus, again you. What is our stand, what is our point towards different brackets for different MFP vendors? So, of course, the pocket bracket is made or fits perfectly into the HP machine, but how does this work with, for example, Xerox or Toshiba? Do we have special brackets today? Is this in our planning? What is our point of view there? Or how do you mount the card reader? Is there something like a tape in the box? Or
no, good question, and I don't think it's only related to Germany, but I believe it's also for other countries. So by default in the box, there is a 3M double-sided tape, but it's all depending on what type of reader is used. So you can imagine, as you showed during your presentation, that the Spider Core is the matchbox size type of reader, so which is quite small, compact. So we believe that this reader will fit in almost every device. With regards to brackets, we have the traditional external MFP bracket, which fits in the desktop, but we can work very closely with our partners to develop special brackets if needed.
Is the Spider going to replace all inepro previous products, or will it be an addition to the range? So, in other words, will we again later have 2 or 3 card readers, or will it be again just one card reader as the product that we will be developing, selling, and producing?
Yeah, shall I do it, or do you want to do this one?
Well, I can tell you, finally, the Spider card reader will be the one and only card reader from inepro. Of course, in the coming next months, we will still keep the SCR 708 available, but finally this product will be discontinued, and as I said, the Spider will be the only one card reader available for you, and one card reader fits all.
Correct. So we have one reader in portfolio again.
Marcus, I'm going to ask you a very difficult question, but it has come up a few times already. I didn't want to mention it, but the question is, what is our biggest advantage compared to other suppliers in the market?
And you didn't want to ask this question?
Of course, I don't want to talk about others than just us.
Our biggest advantage, I believe it's the real advantage is the quality, the passion that's behind the reader. As you mentioned already, it's not just an RFID reader that reads out a serial number. It is an RFID reader for a lifetime. The reader is developed with the highest quality. So again, it's couple-winded antennas, so the quality and the ease of use and the convenience of the reader is superb. And having a single reader in stock available for everyone makes it always the right product for you and for your customer. So it is the quality to me, it's the passion behind it, it's the philosophy behind it, it's the technique, it's the quality, and it's the eco-friendliness that makes it, for me personally, a reader that's superb.
I think, just summarizing it, just one reader for a very good price, which fits always.
True.
That's just the basic.
True.
Jelle, question to you. We were just talking about supporting it for lifetime and updates all the time. So what does this mean actually? So what kind of updates can I think of that will be coming in the future? So for example, can I update both firmware and configuration, and what kind of functionalities can be added in that case? Are they free of charge? How does this work?
Yes, so free of charge it is, because we guarantee you the lifetime updates, and you already bought the card reader itself. And usually we bring out, let's say, two times a year major firmware updates. And so besides configuration, you can also continuing updating your firmware of the card reader to bring in new functionalities. And what this will be exactly is difficult for me to answer. Right? You may expect functional features to connect to new BLE apps, but also cloud solutions where Jana was talking about. And for example, if new security features that will come out that we need to support, of course, we can also upgrade this part yes.
So there are a lot of things to come.
Yeah.
And we will add that to the reader. And that is our guarantee towards the market. So,
exactly. So we feel confident that we have a hardware platform that is really ready for the next coming years to be able to beat your challenges.
Marcus, is there also an Ethernet version coming up? Or we always had the SCR 808, which is a card reader with an Ethernet connector separately connected to it. Is this something that we are launching new as well, or will it be an addition? How does this go?
So a good question in regards to the Ethernet readers. Yes, we had previously we had the SCR 808, which was an Ethernet-based RFID reader. So the Spider is a USB or a serial type of reader, and we will have in the near future a small Ethernet box that creates an Ethernet RFID reader from the Spider reader. So it's an additional piece of hardware that makes it an Ethernet reader.
Perfect. That was a shorter answer than I expected.
Sometimes the answers are not that complicated.
Jelle, is there a new configuration tool available? Is a new version of the tool available, or can I just use the version 49 or to configure a Spider?
Yes.
Yes.
The technical question, the technical audience we have today.
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear. We have updated our tools, so new tools are available as well that supports Spider and SCR 708 card readers, both. For updating configurations, you can still use the older SCR 708 tools to make your configurations and load them in the SCR 708 card readers and Spider card readers. But for loading and updating firmware, you have to have the latest version of the tools, which you can download from our website or our partner portal in order to update them with the latest firmware.
And I believe you know the number of the software version then that you need.
Exactly.
The question was related to 49. Which version should it be then?
Yeah, so the actual firmware version of the Spider firmware is 2.0. This will be the version you will get when you buy new Spider products. But the version of the tool, the latest version you can download from our online portals, are version 52.
52.
Yeah.
And maybe that's good to mention a bit more about the online portal. At this stage, we are working in TopDesk as our online portal. If you don't have access to TopDesk, please contact your inepro contact or inepro account manager to give you access to our tooling set. A lot of questions are coming in about that at this moment. So all documentation is available at the website. I will share the link at the end of the presentation. All tooling is available behind the login, and that is in TopDesk. You can request a TopDesk account at your inepro contact person. So just contact your account manager, and he will be able to give you access to the TopDesk portal.
Are the tools online already, Jelle, as of today?
I will put them online after this presentation.
Great.
Actually, a very interesting question coming in now, Marcus, to you. Is it cost effective to swap all current card readers for the new Spider? If you ask me, I say, yeah, of course, because
Your sales.
yeah, is it let's say is it a good idea to swap all card readers? Does it have a benefit for the customer, or is it more that you should take the Spider into all new projects? And when is this the case?
Good question, Jano. So from a sales perspective, I agree with you on that, but you have to take an account if you have to look into the entire chain. So yes, you can swap the reader and then you have a one-off cost, but you have to look a little bit more in the future about the cost in updating firmware or configurations. So in the total chain, so the total cost of operation, I would believe it is more beneficial to change to a Spider at the end of the day because of the remote update tools. So it saves you a lot of labor. And at the end of the day, updating the reader remotely is helping your customers more quicker without having to travel. So you have the labor cost, you have the travel cost. So you save on those costs during the contract period with the customer.
Exactly, and saving this travel cost is not only saving cost, but also saves the environment, because traveling
Absolutely.
is also consuming a lot of CO2.
Yes, true.
So guys, few minutes left to ask your last questions. Most of them have been answered now. A question from my side, a little bit more practical, but how does this work with ordering the card reader? Because we have seen the Spider Core, we have seen the Spider Desktop. Do I always need to order it in parts, or can I order it assembled? How does this work with the different cables? Do we have like sets where you have a core plus a cable? How does this work?
Thanks for answering already, Janno. So you're helping us a lot. So we have a list of SKUs where you can order it. So we have the components, so you can build your own RFID reader, and you can start with the core and add housing to it. You can order the cables, but you can also order complete assembled products from us. So we have all those items listed in our new partner portal. Janno will share this at the end of the session, but you can always contact your account manager or contact us via the website, and we can help you in configure or pointing you out in the right direction for the right reader.
Yes, and also in this partner portal, you can see photos from all individual parts and combined spiders, right?
Yeah, it's quite handy. So you see what you get. Absolutely.
Jelle, a question to you. inepro, the name inepro stands for Innovative Netherlands Products. Is this product made and designed in the Netherlands, or is it also a bit Chinese? Is it safe? Who is designing and developing this product? And is it always secure that the device has a European ground, or how does this work?
Janno, that's not just one question. That's a lot of questions in one question.
That's my work, Marcus.
Now, the Spider card reader is definitely a core product for inepro. It is fully designed and developed in our house. And for us, it's very important to do it all ourselves, to be in charge, to be in control. And this is also why we trust in the product and can give you the 5 years of warranty. Not only for the hardware itself, but also that we can guarantee you the firmware updates in the future, because we all develop it ourselves. And because of its our own development, also the security is definitely coming from us in our hands, and we are not related to third parties that don't have to rely on them for our security, and with it your security.
Yeah, true. And the final programming of the reader is always done in-house in our headquarters here, where we record and store everything that is happening around the manufacturing process of the Spider.
Guys, we are going to wrap up. One last question. Actually, I think this is a question to the marketing team.
Oh, it's already time.
But Marcus, you need to answer it. The question is, why are we dressed in suits while sitting in the jungle?
Oh, that's a good question. Which I cannot answer, Janno. We wanted to sit here in yellow Speedos, but having a jungle hat and shirts, but it's just our way we dress here.
Yes, so and unfortunately, the temperatures in the Netherlands are currently not yet that tropical.
That's true. That's true. Although with the lights here in the studio, it's quite warm.
Yeah.
So I think it's back to you, Janno. So thank you much. Thank you all for sending us your questions and being part of the virtual launch. Thank you, Jelle. And Janno, good luck with wrapping up the session. Thank you very much.
Marcus, Jelle, thank you. And most of all audience, thanks a lot for your questions and your attention today. We are proud that so many of you, of our partners and clients are here today. We really appreciate that, and we hope that we can do this soon live again and just play around with the Spider. I mean the card reader, not real spiders, but let's play around with the Spider. So now it's up to you. Buy a card reader, ask your inepro contact person to get a card reader for testing. There were a lot of questions about pricing in the chat as well. We did not mention that during the session, since that you will all have an inepro contact person and he can inform you about pricing in different countries, transportation costs, order quantities, if there's different pricing, etc. So just contact your inepro account manager. Or if you don't have any, contact me. My contact details are on this page as well. All documentation is available through the link that you're seeing in this page, on this page, or scan the QR code. All tools are available after login. So if you have a TopDesk account, it's available over there. If not, just contact us and we will give you access to this portal. We try to keep it a little bit exclusive because inepro doesn't work with everyone in the market. We want to have the best partners. And if you are here today, we are proud that you are one of those best partners. Thanks for watching. Just ask us anything what you want, and we will ask any questions that are still left in the chat right now. So keep an eye on that. Thanks, and hope to see you soon live again.